snap, and even if you put it back together, it'll never be what it once was. But you definitely pray on it. You hope for the best, because like nobody wants to spend the rest of their life alone just because a particular relationship didn't work out, but you had this beautiful creature as a result of it, but you don't want to necessarily spend and you're not all of a sudden a bad person. You're not all of a sudden not going to fulfill this other person's needs.
You, madam, are a harlot and a scoundrel.
Because I had one kid while I was still married. Like,
but what if you?
I take that back.
What if the situation turns around the other way? So you ready for your child to meet? They meet the person, and this person is a giver. So this person's buying your child lots of gifts and wanting to.
I would usually.
Stop.
Do you
like, you don't like if it's a birthday or some sort of holiday or something like that, okay, and they want to get them a few things or get them something, okay, but just on like a regular basis, like unless it's like Nestle's Quick or something that you can get from like, you know what I'm saying, or like Kit Kats or something like that. Like, no, don't spend a lot of money. It's unrealistic.
I'm sorry.
It's unrealistic. Like, don't try to buy his.
Tune in live to Salacious Life Radio every Wednesday from 9 to 11, only on BeExposedRadio.com.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. With millions of YouTube views, shares, Instagram likes, followers, and fans across the globe. But what do all these amazing pets have in common? Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a shelter or adoptable pets near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard? Well, that's entirely up to you. Visit theshelterpetproject.org and hear more about Hamilton the Pug, Toast, and Keyboard Cat's amazing adoption stories. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Your perfect pet is just a click away at theshelterpetproject.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund.
There's a rumor going around that Tyler Perry and Oprah are beefing. Well, let me tell you about this. Tyler, okay, told Oprah, bitch, if you don't have my money, we're going to have a problem. Ooh. Oprah said, what is the problem? Ooh. You said if I don't have your money, there was going to be a problem. So Oprah is standing her ground like, bitch, I'm in charge. Yeah, you may have a $250 million studio over there that you film all your shows and movies and stuff on, but I have the empire. That's what Oprah said.
Oh, these are her exact words. Allegedly.
I made this up. But
allegedly.
I made it all up. But there was a rumor that they were beefing. But Tyler confirms that they don't have any issues. So it says it was recently reported on the rumors that was swirling that the twosome were on the outs over constructive criticism of a Perry show. Well, I got some constructive criticism, and we can be on the outs, Tyler, and I don't give a damn because I'm going to make a promo out of this anyway and share it to your page. I need the scenes on Have and Have-Nots to be like 5% shorter, each one. I want you to watch an episode of The Young and the Restless, because this is supposed to be a soap opera. No one's dialogue on The Young and the Restless is like this. You don't have to talk about the random plant in the corner for 25 minutes on one damn scene.
They talk about random plants.
It was a blood stain on the floor for 5 episodes. I can't take it. We need to pick this up. I'm sorry. I love the Have and the Have-Nots, and I continue to watch it in this 5th season. But I get so mad when I can go get myself a glass of water and come back, and he had just started the next sentence in his first paragraph. I can't stand it.
They just want to get the point across.
It's not but you don't get the point for 4 episodes. It's too much. So, Now, according to ET Online reports, Tyler Perry has a pre-cut and dried response to a pretty cut and dry response to the rumors about him and Oprah. Here's what he says. It's completely false.
What was that? That was your Tyler Perry impression? Oh, God. What?
That was my Medea voice.
Oh.
Nothing is accurate in this article except for mine and Oprah's names. That's what he said. I mean, you see what I mean? You gotta stick around. I mean, every Tuesday at 7 p.m. I mean, they pay us to do this, so we go off every week right here on BeExposedRadio.com.
Join the club that gives you stuff. Hey, thanks! Radio Loyalty. Here's how it works. Just click on the Radio Loyalty banner right now and sign up. Then, you keep on listening like you already do. But now you earn points. Those points add up, and you can trade them in for stuff in the Radio Loyalty store. Earn more points by sharing your station with friends on Facebook and Twitter, answering surveys, and by using the apps in the New Players App Store. Pretty simple, right? Radio Loyalty. Click that banner to join now.
You use Tearless Baby Shampoo because it's gentle on your baby's eyes. You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You always test the bathwater to make sure it's not too hot. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You make sure she wears a helmet when she rides her bicycle. You put on his sunscreen, even when he's embarrassed his friends will see. You do so much to keep your child safe. But are you using the right car seat for your child? Is your child facing the right way in the car seat? Is the seat too big or too small? How do you know when it's time to move your child into the next type of seat? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. That's safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions?
No, why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework.
Home, walk, restaurant. Need a review?
No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind wanders. He's disorganized.
I think I understand.
Oh, good.
Finding best potatoes for French fries.
No!
Russet, fingerling, Yukon Gold.
Why don't you understand me?
Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Brought to you by understood.org and the Ad Council.
Hey, there's my son. You've been in your room all morning.
Hey, Dad.
Matt, what's wrong with your voice?
There is nothing wrong with my voice.
Oh, well, it's just sort of.
I have been playing my video games and electronic games for so many hours.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
You're now listening to BeExposedRadio.com. Check out this fire flashback.
We need to relearn what it is to be these bosses and how we conduct ourselves as business-minded individuals and just people in general. Yeah.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange. Artist Exchange Live. The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange.
Starts now. Hey, what's up? And welcome to the Artist Exchange Radio Show. We're live only on BeExposedRadio.com. Today's show, this is your camera, by the way, in case y'all want to do it.
Very nice.
A tell-all. But today's show is going to be a little packed. We have the first hour, we have Mr. Jason Bones, Coppernite, high school graduate, author, promotional speaker. Inspirational speaker. And then we have the musician of Baltimore, Mr. Blues himself.
Wow.
Patrick Forte in the building. And
Appreciate
in the next hour, we have some surprise guests, and you never know who's going to stop by. But how y'all gentlemen doing today?
All right.
Yeah, I'm good.
Having a good day.
So I'm going to start with Mr. Jason, the new author in your bunch. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself before we jump into the book?
So I'm an activist, I'm an accountant.
Okay.
I do a whole lot of stuff. So previously I was a CFO of Black Millennials for Flint, which is a national environmental justice and civil rights organization partnered with nearly 40 different organizations operating in 3 different states. I help have a couple startups. One startup actually sold to Amazon. Right now, I'm here.
So he's about to make me rich. That's what he's about to say, basically.
And right here, I'm here promoting my book, All In, the God-Fearing Black Professionals. So essentially, I was looking at all my friends, and all my friends, they had goals. They wanted to do something, but they didn't know how to. You know, so what I decided to do is I went on to interview over 100 successful Black Americans. So we're talking about entrepreneurs, we're talking about TV hosts, we're talking about governmental and federal persons who lead organizations. I interviewed them all. And I decided to put down all their lessons in a straightforward, short guide for my people, because our people need it.
Right. So, one of the things that I've come to understand is, even though I went to college and I learned what it is that I want to do, the business of what I want to do, there's not a class for that. There are classes, but I didn't get that offered in my major, and it's not a part of the curriculum, I'll say it that way, and turning you into like a professional artist. Because most time artists are either on one side of it. They're not that good on the creative side, but they're awesome business-wise. That's why we have this explosion of mediocrity in like the arts industry, because they're really good with marketing. And then on the flip side of that, you have people who are extremely talented and maybe a little lazy, but nevertheless they're really talented, and they have no idea how to even promote or the difference between marketing and branding and promotion. So are those the types of things that you come across where so you have one that's more successful on one side of that coin versus the other side, or was it just you're teaching them just the fundamentals across the board?
So I take a semi-deep dive on different topics. So for example, I have a topic about entrepreneurship, and the person I interviewed actually hosted his own show with Oprah Winfrey. So he has experience. I interviewed him. I asked him, you know, what did you do? You know, how did you get to this place? And he broke it down to me. So I broke it down in my book. You know, how to be a world-class artist or a world-class entrepreneur, and how to double that back so you can go ahead and monetize. And those steps are in the book. One example is the 3 Ps. You know, you have to find out what your audience passion is, what their purpose, you know, what is your politics.
Or your client.
So the audience and clients, people and readers, you know, what are your purpose, what are the passions, and what is the politics of the situation. And you have to look at things in a different vantage point, especially as an artist, so you can monetize, you can look at things as a business situation. Because like you know, some things you can't learn in school. Sometimes you just gotta go on the streets, you know as well. You gotta go on the streets, you gotta hustle, you gotta network, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Definitely.
That's what this book kind of speaks of, but it gives you like guidance.
Okay.
Someone said that it was a roadmap for young Black professionals.
So Mr. Forte, tell
What
us
up?
a little bit about where you're coming from and who you are.
Oh man, I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. Forte, Mr. Cool Blue, trombone. I'm a singer-songwriter, and I am on this show promoting this new single I have called More Time. I released a new video this year, and it's been a while since I released some new music because, you know, I've been working, I'm in 9 bands, so I've been working a whole lot, trying to, you know, fulfill other obligations, you know, with kids and all that stuff. So I'm happy to give you guys this new music. I hope you enjoy it.
First of all, I'm always amazed at how musicians can jump around that much. I was having a hard time being in a theater group and maybe auditioning for something else.
Yeah.
Like, how do you keep your schedule in line in terms of gigs and shows?
Well, everything doesn't happen all at the same time. So I might have one band that's real busy. Like, there's this one band that's really busy now. It's a swing jazz band that I'm in. And then, like, over the summer, I tour with this band called Ja Works. So, and they're, like, nationally, internationally known or whatever. So, like, they're really, really heavy during that time. And then I have the time that I'm playing with my band a whole lot. You know, sometimes I am playing, like, 5 nights a week. But it's all in the scheduling, you know.
Mm-hmm. So we got 2 minutes before we go to break. Can you both tell us where we can find you at on social media?
Oh, I'm Forte, the number 4 TAE on Facebook, IG, the number 4 TAE _ IG, and on Twitter it's Forte36251. That's FORTE 36251.
And you can find me on all socials at Jason J Barnes, and you can visit my website at jasonjbarnes.com.
Yeah, and Forte.com.
So we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BeExposedRadio.com. Don't go anywhere.
Be Exposed Radio.
It's a family affair if you want to look at it that way.
It is. I totally agree, and I believe I believe that this Wisdom on the Wall is going to be a movement, and that's what I believe we are doing. Is we're creating a movement where people essentially, even after we've presented in these workshops, then they'll be inspired to sort of document some of the things that they've gone through and empower somebody else. So it'll be like a chain effect. So they'll see that, you know, we were just 3 women who have gone through various things and experiences in our lives, and we just took the opportunity to sit down, put it in a book, and then it'll be a movement, and then other women will be inspired to do the same thing. Let me tell you, we are better together. We are so much better together, family. I'm telling you. When we band together, put our resources and our experiences together, we can create a movement, and that's what it's about, inspiring people to do more than what they may currently see of their own lives, that they can do so much more. So, yeah.
You are exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
The Inspired Radio Show. Tune in every Wednesday from 7 to 9 p.m. Radio.
Well, if you made them, take care of them.
Yeah, that's
period.
The real. Right. That's the real deal.
It's period.
Right. And all that old money shouldn't go toward this, money should go to, if the child is with one of the parents 24/7, 7 days a week, you don't even come get your child every day. You come get your child once a month maybe, or once every 3 months.
Right.
You cannot dictate where that money goes, especially if the child ain't calling you about nothing. Now, if the child calling you every week, then you can question about where the child support is going. But if every time you pick up the child, they look nice, they ain't complaining about nothing, why are you worrying about where the money go at?
It is what it is. Radio.
Join the Just a Bit Outside crew every Monday, 8 to 10 p.m. on BeExposedRadio.com.
You wanna start off?
I think I'll get it out of the way on a who's not.
Okay, do it.
The Orioles.
Right.
They got swept by the Royals. They lost 4 in a row, and the last 5 games have all been decided by 1 run. The game before, or the last game that they lost before the Royals was the Nationals, and it was Weeders, of course, one with a home run.
Hit the home run.
Right. They were going into that National series. It seemed like they were doing so well, and they just crapped out. They got that game postponed, so who knows when they're going to replay that or play that game. That's my first not for the night.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and weigh in on my who's not, and I'm going to talk about the San Diego Padres.
The Padres. That's okay. You just took my answer.
They're in last place in the NL West. They've lost 8 of their last 10.
their run differential is a negative 65, which is just horrible. So when you have well, let me just talk about run differential a little bit. It's kind of like the
how much you're winning or losing your games by, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. It's like the margin of victory, kind of.
Right.
So when you're in a negative number, that means that then
your average game you're losing
by a whole lot.
Right.
I mean, a number like negative 65, this early in the season is pretty rough.
That's horrible.
Then the pitching numbers pretty much support this stat right here. I mean, the team ERA is 4.70, which is 26th in the league. They have 126 walks allowed. They acquired Jared Weaver in the offseason, and he really has not panned out. He's off to one of the worst starts in any of the pitchers in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
He's 0-4 with a 6.05 ERA. In May alone, he already has 12 earned runs. 12 earned runs in May. And, another one of their pitchers, Clayton Richard, he's 2-4 with a 4.34 ERA. And, in May, he has 6 earned runs and 12 innings pitched. So they're not pitching well. And on top of that, they're also not batting well.
Right. But it kind of sucks because Manuel Margot is doing pretty good. His the past few at bats, his last.
Join the Just a Bit Outside crew every Monday 8 to 10 p.m. on BeExposedRadio.com.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
My name is Ruth Rusi. I'm a retired teacher. I'm 91 years old, and this is how I live United. I say retired, but not really. Once a week, I read books to children as part of United Way's education program. Reading to a child creates links between language and literacy. It creates a bond between grown-up and child. And believe it or not, it prepares them for a better academic future. Oh, we read about frogs and flies and pigs with wings, all sorts of juicy stuff. It's a joy to watch all those little faces. I figure I have the time and they have the need. And I've always believed that if we're not here to help each other, then what are we here for really? My name is Ruth Rusi. I help kids prepare to succeed in school. So I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give. Advocate.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
That hurt you. Yeah.
Welcome back
All right.
to the Artist Exchange Radio Show. We're here live. We have some surprise guests coming up. Well, they're not a surprise because I kind of introduced them on our advertisement for today as well. But we have awesome podcast coming up after this in the second hour. So we're gonna stick to Jason and Mr. Forte right now.
All right.
Being a musician, this city is growing in all forms of arts.
Right.
How do you stay not ahead, but how do you keep yourself growing and reaching and not just playing it safe? Because all the avenues of the arts, specifically in Baltimore and the DMV, is exploding right now. We were just talking about comedians, but definitely live musicians are like really stepping out.
It's a lot of things happening, and to keep on expanding, one, you just got to keep your craft going. You can't just be. I mean, once you start to be a business and you start to sell music, and then you're like, all right, well, I'm not doing anything unless it's giving me X, Y, and Z, and blah 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 blah. you got to keep the art going. I was talking to one of my friends, Scotty P, Scott Painter. He was just like, I've been in business so long, I haven't been arting. You know, I have to art. So we came together and we wrote some protest songs. You know, it's cool, and I love the budding of that project. So you just gotta don't limit yourself to just doing one thing. Like I have like some other things in the mix that I'm doing with some different artists, like painters and stuff like that. That I'm involving them in my music, and you know, just creating a new lane and a new avenue for what I'm doing, and having the marketing and promotion be different than the same as you would do your regular rollout for this next song or this next whatever. Have it be different. Try to change things instead of being the same all the time. I mean, if you want to be the same, that's cool. I'm not the same. So.
And that's kind of what we were talking about in the first segment, balancing that art and entrepreneurship with the business of it, because you can get so caught up. I have a friend now, she's starting a food company, and she got so into the actual making of food and setting up booking the new places she's going to be in, because she doesn't have a storefront yet, that she forgot like basic things, like you forgot you have to tell people when you're going to be open, and marketing that versus when you're there, just putting it on your social media. And then she's having issues with like booking her employees. Like we don't know what time and where's the location because it's not a storefront. You got to give that information up front. So it's difficult, and I'm glad you took the time to write that, because often, whether you went to school or not, especially if you didn't go to school, you really are learning the business at whole. At least, you know, if you go to college or you go to a conservatory, you kind of got some things in terms of becoming an artist, but the business side of it is really hard and it's really challenging. And we really have to stay focused on how to balance it all without losing one side to the other.
Balance is a key word, because like I said, if you're doing too much on the business side and then your art suffering, then that sucks. But if you're doing too much on the art side and then you're like, oh well, where's the money from all these great things that I make?
All this supply.
Yeah, and it really hurts. Like when you go to college and you're like learning all this stuff, and then you're like, okay, I'm finished, I'm done, and you're good at what you do, and then it's just like. There's this whole other stuff that you have to learn with the business that it takes almost just as long as you took your whole life learning how to act or sing or whatever. It takes almost just as long to learn all that stuff. So some people, they'll get really, really great at something, and then they get out of college and then they quit because they realize, oh, I have to be a business. I got to do marketing. I got to do this. I got to do that. PR. I gotta have my media training. I gotta book all these radio shows. I gotta do like all this stuff. It's like, whoa. So, like that is, I think, is a very interesting thing. So I think that the balance should always be on your mind. Like,
and you think about getting a gig or getting an audition or getting that job or the opportunity, but you don't think about, you know, balancing your books, promoting yourself, or marketing. You want to say something, Jason?
So in my book, like I talk about decision making, but I turn it on its head.
Right.
You know, I'm trying to teach people how to categorize their decisions. Right. So what is your significance?
Like priorities, you mean?
Yeah. Okay. Like prioritization. Right. So here we talk about, you know, what are the strategic decisions? What are the quick decisions? What are the significant decisions? So when you're an entrepreneur and an artist, you can categorize your decisions based on that type of format, instead of being so overwhelmed with so many different issues, especially as a solopreneur or an entrepreneur, especially in a city like Baltimore where there's opportunity all around you.
So we're going to take another quick break. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BigExposedRadio.com.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
My name is Ruth Rusey. I'm a retired teacher. I'm 91 years old, and this is how I live United. I say retired, but not really. Once a week, I read books to children as part of United Way's education program. Reading to a child creates links between language and literacy. It creates a bond between grown-up and child. And believe it or not, it prepares them for a better academic future. Oh, we read about frogs and flies and pigs with wings, all sorts of juicy stuff. It's a joy to watch all those little faces. I figure I have the time and they have the need. And I've always believed that if we're not here to help each other, then what are we here for really? My name is Ruth Rusey. I help kids prepare to succeed in school. So I don't just wear the shirt.
I wanted to talk to you about something and... Oh, wait, hold on. I just got a text. Oh, there's another one. Wow. Busy me. So anyway...
Oh, wait, Mom. I just got a message. My friends keep commenting on my comment. Oh, there's another one. So many comments on my comment.
Oh, I can't wait to watch TV tonight. Playoffs!
Hey guys, check out my new video game. Pew, pew. Wait, Mom, what? Huh?
What? Hold
What'd you say? Wait a second, what?
This weekend, unplug. Take your family to the forest. There's nothing in the world like experiencing nature firsthand. Trees, paths, bluebirds, streams. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Hey, what's up, and welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live only on BeExposedRadio.com. We've gotten into the groove of talking about the balance of being an artist and an entrepreneur, business owner in general. And I say artist, and then I use entrepreneur not to kind of diminish artist, but it's a separate entity for me because I learned to be an artist. I learned the business of being an artist, but then I had to learn entrepreneurship inside of it because the business of being an artist is the hustle.
True. Getting
the audition, learning how to audition, and that's the business of being an artist. That's what you're taught. We're taught how to audition. We're taught how to get the job and stand out, but we're not taught the business of it. So how do you promote yourself? You find radio shows, and that's kind of how the Artist Exchange got its start. I saw a lot of my friends that were urban art majors from Coppin struggling to just make it. We knew how to get the audition and get the role, but beyond that, how do we make our career as an artist self-sufficient and really, you know, put a lot of the work now, and so we can live off of that. Why did you decide to write the book versus, you know, just do workshops and such?
So I still do workshops in DC and Northern Virginia, trying to get more in Baltimore, workshops down here. But the reason why I wrote the book was, so I saw two classes of friends. One class of my friends, they were excelling, you know, they're working in major corporations, major government positions. The other class couldn't find any jobs. They couldn't feed their families. They had families, starting families, but they couldn't make ends meet. So I decided, you know, what makes this group of people different from this group of people?
What was one of the major differences that you saw?
The major difference was...
Or conflicts, I would say conflicts.
Yeah, the major conflicts was some people didn't have the tools. They didn't know how to make it, right? So for example...
That was me.
Yeah, they didn't know how to make it. You know, they come from families and, you know, they come from families without any leadership, members who are in leadership or in positions that they want to be in. So they have to learn on their own. So what I decided to do is interview over 100 successful Black Americans and find out what they did, you know, get their stories, learn how they did it. And I went ahead and I wrote down my own way how you can achieve the way they achieve.
And how many times did you see that it's not so much about luck or chance, but it's just aligning yourself with the right opportunity? You can go to school and learn finances and economics and business development, and it's still not work. And sometimes it's just doing what you do for a certain amount of time, and there's no real timeline, but just keep doing what you're doing, and eventually it'll make itself work, because it's not a quick roadmap to success, and it's different for every person.
Yeah, so I noticed two major things. One, they add value to others. The second thing is they build a community, right? So I interviewed one person who built $1 billion facility in a black neighborhood in the United States with government funds, right? So we're talking about, we're building like a Wakanda. That's what this brother did, right?
So that's more so meeting people outside of what you're doing. Because that sounds like that person knew people and connected with people outside of what they were actually doing.
Right.
I'm sorry, I read a lot of these self-help books and it kind of started sounding the same at one point.
Yep, but before he went ahead and was able to get the political backing to actually build a facility for our community, what he did was major. He said that he used to move around the country and he always found a barbershop, a black barbershop. He always found a black church, and he always found people who are like-minded. So he built his community in different type of areas and network and add value. So when he
off the same pattern.
Yup. So as he kept elevating and kept growing, that allowed him to use those tools he used throughout the country in the political boardroom, so he can build up the black community. Okay. Later on.
If for you, Forte, does this sound like you? Are you in this focus group of artists that just you knew how to be talented, you knew how to polish that blue trombone, but then the business side was lacking?
Oh yeah, that was exactly what went on. Like me, I remember I used to pray and cry in my backyard talking about just somebody tell me what to do. I can play. I remember getting as good as I possibly. I'm a lot better now, but as good as I possibly was like 5 or 6 years ago, and just going on auditions and just not making any money and just wondering what's going on. Like, how come I can't, and seeing other people.
How many times did you say, how much else do I need to sacrifice?
Yeah, like with everything, man. Like I'm homeless, all that stuff. So like, for you, Jason, and I hope that somehow we could probably work together to help artists specifically get through this, because you get frustrated and then you start seeing people who are nowhere near as talented as your training has allowed you to be, and they're making it, and you're like, well, what the hell? What are they doing?
How the hell are you making this? And you're not even trying. You're not even. Your instrument, it's a toy. You're not even working with a real instrument. You got a kid's drum set, and you're being booked on XYZ platform to be able to perform in front of millions of people, and you're not.
See, that sounds like.
And I don't grade art, just so you know. I don't grade it, but I'm just saying, we know, you know. Go ahead.
That sounds like the Kevin Hart effect.
Right.
A lot of comedians hate Kevin Hart, right? Yeah. Because he gets so many opportunities, all this good, millions and millions of dollars, right? And they don't think Kevin Hart is as talented as they are, right? But Kevin Hart.
That's not like hate, though.
That's like
hate. It is hate.
Right.
A little bitterness.
But Kevin Hart, and I would say like he's probably one of the most hardest working persons out there. He has a squad. Like he is able to go ahead and keep elevating, keep getting his name out, his face out.
So you said one thing earlier, and you just said something else. So building a team is a part of that. Yeah. But in that building process, where Forte is getting $250 for that gig, but he needs his whole band to be there. How do you build that team while you're building the finances? And I'll honestly say that has been my struggle, because I work very hard, and the people like us, we work very hard, and you're trying to get it, and you're setting things up so the team can win. But at some point, the team like, look, this ain't paying, deuces, and they quit before, and then you're at the threshold of like, oh my God, all this funding is coming in, but you ain't got no team. Like, what do you say to those organizations or those individuals that are at that threshold where I'm trying to build the framework so we can pour into it and it can be poured into? How do you suggest people put the team together?
Can I say something to that? I mean, well, speaking to that, like, okay, yeah, I might see some other people that are doing more than me that I'm just wondering how they did it. But I mean, like, for the only thing that's ever worked for me, I don't know if it works for other people, but like I started creating and jumping in all these bands and all that stuff because I love music, and then I started writing because I love to write. I started going to the studio because I love going to the studio. So I just started creating the art and then just putting it out there as much as I can, just creating the art and just keep creating the art, keep on like being consistent, keep on building your fan base, keep on going out there and doing it, and then after a certain point of time, things started to flip where people started calling me, you know, and then the $50 show turned into the $100 show, and the $100 show turned into the whatever, you know. And I just feel like if you making your art because you love it, then at a certain point, keep on being a business, like learn everything, but keep on making it and being consistent because you love it. Then it's gonna turn into a financial gain. I mean, but
that mindset is something that some of our parents put into us, but that's a rare mindset right now. It's growing. Yeah. I see pockets of it is growing more now, but that's a rare mindset because people want commercial success, and commercial success is equivalent to putting a Hot Pocket in a microwave.
But like, see, that's why I'm not gonna compromise. Like me, I'm gonna make. Because I've even been there. Because like I've produced like 4 or 5 albums this year for other artists. And that's what I really love to do. I really love to produce for other people. But some people will call me to do work, and sometimes I'm doing it because I have to, because this is my job. But then I don't want to make it a business so much that I'm always compromising who I am and what I'm, you know, like I want to make it a business, but still do the things that I love, because I love making stuff. I love making music. So like I'm always going to do those passion projects, and I'm always going to do it as a job for whoever needs it.
Has it been hard for you to switch over? Because when I first met you, you were strictly about your music and like, of course, working with other artists, but you were strictly on the music. So now that I'm seeing you add different components of the art into it, is that just your networking and you're realizing, hey, let me find another way to do this?
Well, I mean, I think that they're all great ideas, but I mean, like, my father's an artist, so like, I always wanted to infuse art into my work, and
beyond just the cover art.
Beyond just the cover art, I like fashion. So I'm doing this event called Tastemakers, where we feature an artist, where they do a listening party, and then we also feature a model, and the artist, me, the host, and the model, we do a photo shoot there for the clothes there, because I love fashion. But that's just art that I love. I'm doing it because I love it. I'm not doing it because it's about to yield me $1 million. But more people now from these other streams are seeing, and from these other situations are seeing me now, and I'm becoming, I guess, getting more people to see what I'm doing. So that's all I'm really doing. Like my company is called New Face because I just want to have a new face see on what I do. Any way I can do it, and it has to be my projects. I mean, and then I build up like this young man. I'm probably gonna share his stuff today because, you know, he's a young black man doing his thing, and I support it. So I big up everybody else, but you got to come see the things that I love, and then I'm also gonna show you other things as well.
So that like-minded mindset is more so not people doing exactly what you're doing, but just people who have the work ethic and the passion.
Yes.
There.
Of course.
Yeah. So it's what I'm learning from Forte is kind of like what I talk about in the book. So to get to own a business, operate a business, you have to go through the road, right? And a lot of people don't talk about this. Is you have to first get your specialty, then learn the general subject, and then you'll get to the broad range. And I'll break it down to you. Jay-Z. Jay-Z's a rapper, so that's his specialty. He learns how to rap. The general topic is owning, how to produce shows, how to do all the stuff that he does at Rockefeller, right? Then the broad range is a slew of different businesses. So after he learned his specialty as a rapper, after he learned his general topics of generally operating in music business, then he can go to the broad range. A lot of people, they want to go from the specialty, which is like a rapper, all the way to the broad, which is in a huge executive like Jay.
Well, that's a lack of education, or the lack of business development in the educational system, because you see him go from being just a rapper to now this business mogul. So you say right off the bat, I'm going to register all these businesses. I'm going to be in this and I'm going to be in that, and you fail to practice your art. So now I'm not writing as much and I'm not doing as many shows, but I'm running all of these businesses that I'd have registered or I'd have partnered with, and I'd have forgot about that. But it's more so just most of what I know, like I'm coming from theater, but most of the things that I've gotten a chance to do is because I networked, and not for the purpose of being like having a radio station, but I came to this station doing an interview based on what I was doing. Like I was directing this play, and that's how I got to this station. And then so stuff happenstance, but you really have to just let the process go and focus on your lane and stop trying to like live up to what you saw in somebody else's, because people don't tell you the year that they spend in the dark because they couldn't afford BGE, or you know, the times that they had to eat crackers and dip and, you know, eating ketchup packets. They don't show you that journey. That's only cute once they've made it and they need another stream of income like a book to, you know, put that memoir in there and show you the hardship. But they don't show you that during the journey. And I think that's what's missing with a lot of artists from our culture. We don't show you the journey. And because that doesn't look good to say, my house, I'm sitting in the dark at home, but I'm fly out here. I look good on stage. But we're not showing that journey because people, younger artists or novice artists are coming up thinking they have to be fresh right out the gate. And look like they've been in it for 30 years.
People don't tell the truth. They don't. All them cars rented, man. Them cars is rented. Right. The videos. That's not their real ice.
Right, and the studio, the management company is not paying for that. You're paying for that. So that's all being recouped. I learned what that word meant a couple months ago.
And, you know, one thing I learned is you have to have your own board. Like, you have to have your own CFO, you have to have a COO, you have to have a spiritual advisor.
But you got to know what those things are first.
Yes, but you need a squad. Like, you need some people with the experience and expertise.
Well, educate yourself.
People confuse
asking them to do.
Yes, people confuse experience with expertise. You can have 20 years experience
and not know a damn thing.
Exactly.
Educate yourself, though. That's a lot of stuff that I learned, to tell you the truth, from my own experience with people that know what they're doing, and YouTube University. Like you can learn a whole lot of stuff on your own. Like, and you have to check your sources. Like I always do. I'll go on the internet and look at something. I'll go to somebody that already has done it before, and then I'll also go
read
to a book. Yeah, and I'll try to have. When all the commonalities are there, then you know it's probably something that's real.
And then just trying things sometimes. YouTube University used to be a great place to go, but now people have gotten into the business of what YouTube is, and I'm gonna learn what this person just did, and I'm gonna go shoot my own video doing the same exact thing, and you have no expertise in it. And you have an experience in watching it, but you've never really done it. And we're going to take another quick commercial break, and we'll be back with these two awesome gentlemen when we return. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Don't leave your glasses at home when you need to sit.
Only in the forest can you see this. But nothing beats the moment you see that.
Cool!
That's your child's eyes opening up to a world of possibilities.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. And you might just see this. Visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Black by Demand radio show.
2 years ago. If you broke that bike and it don't work, that's on you, brother. I suggest you get that toolkit out back and then start working with it, right? Yeah. So my son's looking at me like, wow. And I broke down to him how we had got fixing flat tires down to a science. You understand what I mean? Sticking the tube in the water. Right? Talk to me, brother. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, you know, critical thinking. And see, and we look at that now and like kids, they not as on hands like we were back in the day.
That's because nowadays you don't have to put the bikes together anymore. They can come assembled.
Yeah, everything's coming assembled.
In the store, they ask you like if you want it already assembled.
Right.
Back then, you just got the box with 1 million pieces.
Right, and today I don't think they could work with that.
It's just like the thought process. Nowadays, you get a bike that's already put together. Now, when you were younger, you had to put this bike together.
You got to put it together.
That basically closes your mind into learning how to do something.
Yes.
Now you're giving it something. So, okay, you take this. And this is what it is.
Right,
so now we have to run with this instead of teaching the child, this is how you put this together so you to see the result as this.
Right. Critical thinking. I like that. So look, not to cut you off, Mr. Neese, but let's go to our first commercial break, and then we're going to come back and finish talking about critical thinking.
Whoa. The moment my son saw a redwood tree.
It's huge!
Is the moment I knew that for him,
you can't even see the top of that thing.
Even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Join the Just a Bit Outside crew every Monday, 8 to 10 p.m. on BeExposedRadio.com.
You want to start off?
I think I'll get it out of the way on a who's not.
Okay, do it.
The Orioles.
Right.
They got swept by the Royals. They lost 4 in a row, and the last 5 games have all been decided by 1 run. The game before, or the last game that they lost before the Royals was the Nationals, and it was Weeders, of course.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
So it happens like that, and it's sad and unfortunate that we're living in a place, in a time where you can do the least amount and get the most out of it, because we were taught to work smart and not hard. Yeah. So now the hard work is out the window, and now we're just working smart. So we know how to finagle the numbers, and I'm a buy likes versus earning likes.
Right.
You know, so we're back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show. We got Mr. Patrick Forte, the Blues Brother, over in the corner. And we got Mr. Jason Barnes, author, new author. How long did it take you to finish a book?
3 years.
3 years?
Congratulations.
Yes. 3 long years.
Was it finished before this and you just wasn't ready to put it out, or you just took your time researching?
So I did like all the interviews within 2 years, and then I transitioned my life to doing more activism. So I put this on the back burner.
Okay.
So that's why it took 3 years. But I think the timing is perfect. And one thing I talk about in the book is really listen to the spirit. Really learn the cadence of the year, the cadence of your timing, but then listen to the spirit and get spiritual guidance so you can move forward. Because if I put this book out like 3 years ago, it wouldn't have the same effect, or it wouldn't have the same value as it does now.
Yeah. Did you add things in the last part of this year, or the beginning of this year and the last year? Like before putting this book out, were there things that you learned and putting it to the side and coming back to it?
Yep, so I have a section about building Wakanda. Nice. It's literally about how to build Wakanda. And some other things, but yeah.
So in thinking about just the legacy, or the legacy of yourself being an author, what are some of the things that you want to touch on in subsequent books or that format?
So I follow this person called Ash Cash, and what he does is he writes books for the culture. He has a book about Kanye West going crazy.
Wow.
He got a book about Jay-Z's 444. And I think moving forward, I'm gonna write some more books that's for the culture, that
Right.
speaks to like professional development, but also like culturally significant.
Is that, where are you with where we are in this country right now? And I'll speak to you as an artist and you as, say, an author. Where are you in terms of your creativity in this climate that we're in? Like, where is your creativity moving you to be?
Well, kind of where I started like a few years ago when I first came on the show. Shout out to you guys, put me on the show with that first song that I put out. I mean, I'm an artist now, but that was to show people that I can write. I'm a songwriter. I can produce. I can do the vocal arranging. So that's why I started to put out my own music. So now, and the creativity is like just going out and still just making things. Like I was in the studio today with brother Chariz Marcel. Shout out to him for having me on his project. And I produced Annie Cassidy's record this year. She just had that drop. Also working on Naila Salim. So just creating and making things. Just, as long as you keep on working on your craft and just keep making things, I think you're always going to grow. So that's where I am in this climate.
Yeah. For me, I just try to protect my energy. You know, this climate, the way culture is right now, it will make you go crazy. It will.
Is that directly with people protecting your energy, or just, what you watch and what you take in, or?
Everything. Everything.
Right.
Because it will confuse you. It will make you go crazy. It will conform your feelings and your failures and everything that you don't like. It will. You got to protect yourself, and that's what I'm doing.
The moment he said he was running for president, the very next month, I canceled my cable subscription. So I have not watched TV in my home since that, because I didn't want to be influenced emotionally by what's going to be like a loop for the next 4 years. Yeah. And I didn't want to be influenced by that creatively or just mentally, and especially emotionally, because then you start making decisions based on your emotions and not like what is common sense for you to be. My last question to you for this segment is, what advice would you give to your 17-year-old self? Not to change anything, because we don't want to alter time, but to prepare and soften some of those blows sometimes.
My 17-year-old self, I would tell him to have more fun. Have a lot more fun.
So you didn't have fun?
Oh, I had a lot of fun, but I really would have, I wish I had a little bit more fun, right?
For these late nights that you spend in putting together a book.
Yeah, because time goes by so quickly. I would say.
So now you 30-something.
Oh God, I'm almost.
Didn't mean to scare you, but that's the reality.
I'm 33. I'm still all right. I'm still a young man. I'm 33. Yeah.
But I mean, that's a different. So your reaction is what most of us who are honest with ourselves. Yeah. That's the reaction that we had.
No, when I was, how old are you now?
I'm 26.
When I was 26, I felt the way you feel. After I got past the hump, I was just like, whatever, man. I'm 33. Man, it's all good.
Because you wake up and you're 33. It's not like something you saw happening.
I feel like my 40s, like our 40s, are gonna be so lit. Like,
has to be, man.
So we're actually going to take another quick break. I'm gonna give these gentlemen a minute each to kind of sum up who they are and what they are, and what they're doing. If you have any gigs coming up, definitely let us know. If you have any other projects coming up, let us know. So that's your moment right now. You get a minute.
No, well, I'm working on a few projects. So first, check out More Time by Patrick Forte Harrison, Forte number 48E. More Time. We got the new video out right now, so check that out. And I'm just working on some other projects that I will definitely be bringing to you soon. No gigs right now. Well, some with JAWorks, and check the website, Blackroot. Check the website. Yeah, thanks.
So I have a couple major projects I'm working on. The first one is I'm helping building a school in Southeast DC. So we're building a school in Southeast. That's pretty exciting. The second thing is I'm about to host my own show with DC and Northern Virginia. And the third thing is just check out my book, check out my blogs. You know, I'm featured in different websites, Blavity, for one, and a whole bunch of others. So,
yeah. So I thank you, brothers, for stopping by. Do you have any shows coming up?
Yeah, just go on jawworks.com and check out the website, and also blackrouteunderground.com, and check that out for tomorrow. We're doing Tellus in PA with Jawworks, Tellus 360, and then we're at the community college, BCCC, with Black Root Underground on Sunday at 4 o'clock.
So thank you all for tuning in. We're going to be back in a few moments with totally new guests. So I thank you, brothers, for stopping by.
Thank you.
Anything that I can do to help you all, and I'm going to say this off air as well, I'm here. Like, I really love seeing black people succeed and positivity, and not just getting the bag, but definitely not being afraid to reach forward and reach back, and bringing people forward with them. But anything that I can do to help, whether it's buying a book or buying a ticket. I'm not wealthy, but I can support in those ways as much as I can. So we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. The Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BigExposedRadio.com. Look up Jason Barnes, Forte on social media, and we're going to add their information throughout live as well. So thank you. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm LeVar Burton, and I'm proud to be a book person. How do I choose a book? Sometimes it's the cover, sometimes it's the title. I guess I'm pretty visual. If a book's really impressing me and the writing is really good, I will peek and see what the last paragraph is, because the endings of books should rock you. I am a book person, and if you're a book person too, read to a child and spark a lifetime of ambition. Join me at bookpeopleunite.org, because reading is fundamental. A public service announcement brought to you by Reading is Fundamental, Library of Congress, and the Ad Council.
So, Jacqueline.
Yes, Mom?
I wanted to talk to you about something, and... Oh, wait. Hold on. I just got a text. Oh, there's another one. Wow. Busy me. So, anyway...
Oh, wait, Mom. I just got a message. My friends keep commenting on my comment. Oh, there's another one. So many comments on my comment.
Oh, I can't wait to watch TV tonight. Playoffs!
Hey, guys, check out my new video game. Pew, pew.
Wait, Mom, what? Huh?
What? Hold
What'd you say? Wait a second, what?
This weekend, unplug. Take your family to the forest. There's nothing in the world like experiencing nature firsthand. Trees, paths, bluebirds, streams. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
It's the weekly roundup. Here's what happened this week on Cheryl Underwood Radio.
It's the jump off. Welcome to the Cheryl Underwood Show. Hot topics. We discussing anything. It's a go. We going live now. Got a favorite song calling to the show. Is he ready? Yep. 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go.
That's what I'm talking about. Cheryl Underwood Radio. We gotta find a new thing to say when we start the show, because you know Vic Frost is our super producer.
Change up, Cheryl?
The Iceman. Yeah, but you know, I always say that's what I'm talking about, Vic Frost.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Thank you, Kyle. Appreciate it.
Yeah, change gonna come. Courtney Black back with the facts.
You know that.
Kyle Irby, male rights activist.
Be a man at all times.
Absolutely. That's Sam Cooke Records. Jim Kelly, owner, proprietor of Sports Bar. And Harry Sutherland. Our favorite country love better to know this Judge Harry. This is me. You got to give us some updates in here, because there's certain things that we're about to argue about, and we're going to argue about the Kavanaugh situation. We've been arguing through the whole show prep meeting, but we're going to start at the things. Didn't I say last week things we were going to do?
Taxes.
And then,
read my lips. No new taxes.
No, that's that president. We need to go Marvin Gaye. Matter of fact is, I can't pay my taxes. Yeah, we're going to go to that.
Go Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, listen to me.
Y'all got me. You better get him.
Listen to me. I said that. Listen, we're going to break it down because I think they got Trump. I think they got enough to impeach him for him to be brought up on state charges that he can't pardon himself on. So here we're gonna break down that. We're gonna talk a little bit more politics, and then we're fighting over this Kavanaugh situation because I believe that the Kavanaugh situation, while everybody might be upset now from the outcome, I think it's going to be very detrimental to the Republicans, so we're going to talk about it. Let me close this break because we got a lot to get to. And then in entertainment, people quitting jobs in this climate.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. We got to talk about a lot of stuff in entertainment. Then we go into the sports bar where men come to talk and women come to eavesdrop, and how shocked my team was when I said my Rams. And somebody says, I thought you loved the Patriots.
Yeah, somebody did say that.
I've loved many men at the same time.
Many men.
Hey, go ahead, pull it up, play it now. You better come on. Okay, you better play it now. You listen to Cheryl Underwood Radio. And now it's time for Cheryl Underwood Radio's 60-second moment in music history. Give it to me, Tyrone Dubois.
Thanks, Cheryl. I'm R&B historian Tyrone Dubois with a 60-second moment in music history. Formed around the cast of lovable teenage Puerto Ricans, Menudo was the first Latin group to gain success around the world. Their initial lineup in 1977 included Carlos, Oscar, and Ricky Melendez, plus Nefty and Fernando Salaberry. What was unique about the group is that they were forced out once they reached the age of 16. Though they only reached the chart as a group in America one time with a song called Hobie in 1985, one of their biggest members, Ricky Martin, made a successful solo career. Their biggest song, called Besame in Latin America, reached number 21. By the late 90s, there were 30 ex-members of Menudo. At one time, there were over 30 ex-members of the group and no native Puerto Ricans under the age of 16. The recasting of the band was profiled in an MTV reality series called Making Menudo that included 5 new members that disbanded in early 2009. For more information, you can go to my website. It's rnbhistorian.com. I'm America's R&B historian, Tyrone Dubois, for Cheryl Underwood Radio.
I'm LeVar Burton, and I'm proud to be a book person. How do I choose a book? Sometimes it's the cover, sometimes it's the title. I guess I'm pretty visual. If a book's really impressing me and the writing is really good, I will peek and see what the last paragraph is, because the endings of books should rock you. I am a book person, and if you're a book person too, read to a child and spark a lifetime of ambition. Join me at bookpeopleunite.org because reading is fundamental. A public service announcement brought to you by Reading is Fundamental, Library of Congress, and the Ad Council.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Be Exposed Radio.
It's a family affair if you want to look at it that way.
It is. I totally agree, and I believe I believe that this wisdom on the wall is going to be a movement, and that's what I believe we are doing. Is we're creating a movement where people essentially, even after we've presented in these workshops, then they'll be inspired to sort of document some of the things that they've gone through and empower somebody else. So it'll be like a chain effect. So So they'll see that, you know, we were just 3 women who have gone through various things and experiences in our lives, and we just took the opportunity to sit down, put it in a book, and then it'll be a movement, and then other women will be inspired to do the same thing. Let me tell you, we are better together. We are so much better together, family. I'm telling you, when we band together, put our resources and our experiences together, we can create a movement. And that's what it's about, inspiring people to do more than what they may currently see of their own lives, that they can do so much more. So yeah,
you are exactly right.
Be Inspired Radio Show. Tune in every Wednesday from 7 to 9 p.m.
It's the weekly roundup. Here's what happened this week on Cheryl Underwood Radio. And we're back with more Cheryl Underwood Radio.
Thank you, super producer. Hey, we're going to try to get to everything that I said we were going to talk about at the end of last week.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
But we were doing music at the time, so we were just totally focused on the music side and not really, you know, doing the podcast thing, but we always talked about the podcast. So this was just the time, like this was, you know, this felt right. Felt right, felt like, you know, we had a lot, we had experience, you know, now we've gone through a couple of things, and we've met great people through our, you know, through our journey, and we now kind of have the support that we need to make episodes and pretty much just kind of have continuous success and growth with the show. It just feels good.
Welcome to the Artist Exchange Radio Show. We have these 2 phenomenal gentlemen right here. I want them to introduce themselves. We were just talking about how they got started in their podcast. So introduce yourself individually and
go first, my brother.
Tell us a little bit about the podcast.
Okay, my name is Travis Case. Stage name or personality name is Guillotine. Content creator, writer, editor. It's a whole bunch of stuff, but I'm mainly just content creator. I mean, basically. Yeah, I mean, and
what's going on, y'all? Which camera do I look at?
Right here. This is yours right here.
What's going on, y'all? Listen, so my name is Theo.
Are you nervous?
No, I'm chilling. Okay. My name is Theo Edwards. I'm trying to think of what I do a lot of everything. I guess
media, arts.
Just media, arts, music. A little bit of theater tech.
Theater tech? Yeah, okay, let me write that down.
It's a lot of yeah, right. Like theater tech is something that I.
So that means you a real weirdo. I don't mean it.
Very.
Theater techs are super weird.
Super weird. I have my theater tech black, you know, kind of wash jeans that they usually wear. You know what I mean?
Your blacks.
The dirty boots. You know what I'm saying? So
where did you get started doing that? Was that a school, or did you go to school for theater?
I went to school. I went to high school for theater.
What school you go to?
School for the Arts.
Baltimore School for the Arts. You basically insane, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much. But I went to school for the acting. I didn't go for the actual tech. I didn't get into the tech until like last year.
See, acting is cool, but you really want to be backstage because that's where you get to eat and crack up. And
yeah, I mean, but that tech thing is hard, man. I worked on a project over the past couple of years where I kind of had to do everything, and I had to like build a set for this video that I was working on because I didn't know. First, I didn't have the funds to pay for a theater tech, and
that's because you went to a white school. That's why you felt like you didn't have what was necessary.
Right.
But you go to a black school and you learn how to nigger rig the situation. See, they have resources at the School of the Arts and such.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, I just was like, yeah, if I want it done, do the shit myself.
Right.
So on a very basic level, but add that to the.
Just call it nigger rigging. You can say that. Yeah, it's PC. It's a black thing. But that's it. I went to Coppin. I was an arena player, so you learn how to do the most with the bare minimum.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
There were no budgets at either one of those facilities.
Absolutely.
But you learn how to make it look real and presentable and professional with duct tape and cardboard.
Oh yeah, and spray paint.
Spray paint.
Make it look real good.
Exactly.
Make it look real good, especially like from afar.
So are you in the arts as well, or just music?
Well, I mean, I kind of came up through music and like spoken word, but I eventually kind of rolled and started getting behind the camera and in front of the camera and started doing like book reviews and film reviews and like video essays and stuff like that. So that's kind of like my branch, my branch of it.
So you said you all were thinking about the podcast that you have, and tell us the name.
Okay, so the podcast is the On Topic, Off Topic podcast.
Okay.
And
there's a lot of freedom in that name.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot of freedom in that name. And it came from, just like how the brother was talking about, it actually came from our music background. We had a song called the On Topic. It was called On Topic, Off Topic. And when we were thinking about a name for the podcast, because you know how when you're trying to think of a name for what you're creating, it's like the name and the brand has to be kind of like catchy and open and creative. And I was just thinking like we were thinking way too hard. We're thinking way too hard for it, and we already had something in existence, you know, that was already associated with us anyway.
Because you was thinking about the business side of it.
Yeah.
But, you know, just something that you can have fun and grow with is normally the most important thing. So
absolutely.
From 2006, when you first started thinking about this, 1 million podcasts have joined the world.
Right.
So how do you figure out, or how are you trying to figure out how you're going to stand out amongst all of those shows?
Well, I mean, it's
grandmas, uncles.
It's not necessarily about standing. I think the way to stand out in anything is just to do your own thing, run your own lane. Don't look at the numbers. Don't look at, don't compare yourself to another podcast. Like learn from those successful podcasts, but try to be your own. Make your own lane. Run with blinders on.
What were some of the podcasts that you would like? Not so much trying to learn from, but who's on your Rolodex of podcasts that you listen to?
So you want to answer that first, and then I go.
Sure. I mean, I guess like one of the biggest podcasts that I pull from is like Brilliant Idiots. I listen to like a lot of sports podcasts, a lot of sports journalism. I'm trying to think, it may be like one or two. I listen to some of the NPR stuff, like All Songs Considered, and like stuff like that as well. But I mean,
so I listen to a lot of comedy podcasts, like. So the Joe Rogan Experience, the Churchill Was Happening Now with Joey Diaz. I'm trying to think. NPR, listen to it because NPR has a list of podcasts to choose from. Car Talk, which is that started off as a radio show, but they have kind of dubbed it into a podcast, and it's just reruns of episodes. So it's a plethora of podcasts that I have saved on my phone, and I get updated when the episodes come out. There is the what's the one with the Verve Session, and what is that under?
Working Class.
The Working Class. That's a Baltimore-based podcast, and the Verve Session is a podcast under the Working Class. Working Class has a bunch of other like shows under it. So there were so many ways that we could go about it. I like the way that the Working Class does it because that's kind of the umbrella for the shows that they have under it. So it's like we could have, it was so many ways to go about it. So much research, the way that it looks on YouTube, the way that it looks on the podcast app, the way that it looks on other apps.
Right.
And yeah, so we would look at that and just do research, and why, from our friends that were on the Working Class to the people who were doing it like big time with all of the big time sponsors and all that other stuff. We would look at them and hear how they sound, look at the mics that they use, look at the equipment that they use, look at how their setup is on screen, look at how many cameras they have, all of that. So, like I said, I'm glad that we did it, that we're doing it now. Like, I'm very, very happy that.
So what made this time, like, cause y'all on episode 2?
Yes, we're on episode. That's the episode that has been released. So yeah, episode 2.
So what made this time kind of like the perfect time for you to start?
So for me, what made it the perfect time, I had been in school. Anytime that I was in school, I was always doing art. So I was in school and doing art. So I would put more of my time in art and music and stuff like that than school. So I decided probably like 2014 to just do school. It's been miserable. I've been miserable. It sucks. And I know that I can't function without doing art.
I got like 4 t-shirts that say I have rehearsal.
Right.
And it's like that moment outside of like the show closing, you like, I'm good, I need to get away from these people, they're crazy. And then maybe like that following week, you like, so ain't nobody got a show coming up?
Right. You're looking for a show, you're looking for something to get into. So it's like, not having material or not having a product that was mine was a problem. So it was like, this is the time to do this podcast for me. Did you want to?
Well, I mean, like, since like 2014, I've been doing like the book and film reviews, and it's always kind of been a place for me where I can not only talk about books and film, but also plug in social issues and social commentary as well. And so I kind of felt like this podcast will be a perfect extension to the book and film reviews, but also what me and Theo have been talking about since 2006. My main gripe about not doing it in 2006 is that I felt like we were just, personally, I will say, I feel like I was just entirely too young. I mean, I felt like there's only so much I could talk about as a 19-year-old, as a 20-year-old, because I don't have the life of a 19-year-old 20 or Nas or Jay-Z where I've just seen so much.
Right.
But now that we kind of become more calloused, as far as just what we've seen and what we've encountered, this is definitely the perfect time, and it's the perfect time to not be so politically correct. I mean, I think a lot of people are kind of scared to mention certain people, to talk about certain issues. It's time to just run into the fire, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So we gonna bring up some of those issues, because I watched both 1 and 2. So we gonna bring up some of those issues the Artist Exchange with. And I want to just pick these gentlemen's head. And when we come back from the break, we got Miss Geneva joining us, and she gonna sing. She know it. She know it. I'm not gonna let her skate through that. She didn't come all the way downtown just to talk. But we'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BeExposedRadio.com. Don't go anywhere.
Here's what you missed on Salacious Life Radio.
You know, when it comes to your children, especially if you're dating someone that you actually like, you do want to.
It's the weekly roundup. Here's what happened this week on Cheryl Underwood Radio. And we're back with more Cheryl Underwood Radio.
Thank you, super producer. Hey, don't forget we got the Call Me promotion. Call 1-855-SHERYL1. Tell us how you listen to Cheryl Underwood Radio, where you're listening to us, on which 265 affiliates are you listening to us. Are you listening to the World According to Cheryl, the podcast of Cheryl Underwood Radio? Tell us how you listen to us, and then give us your phone number, and we're going to call you back. Why are we doing it? We're getting you ready for cash and prizes. We're going to air your call. We will not air your phone number, and we may be calling you at odd times of the day and night from a block number, so it might be us or child support or student loans or credit cards. Right. So it may be one of us, it may be all of us, but we're getting you ready for cash and prizes. So we got the Call Me promotion. We want you to support that. And also call us if you ever gave your baby some money at 3 years old, because Fred Trump, Donald Trump daddy, he's deceased now, but he gave Donald Trump a lot of money when he was 3 years old.
The equivalent of $200,000 a year at age of 3.
Okay, let me ask. Sutherland Fitzgerald Kelly ever get that kind of money?
It's funny how you took that article, right?
Yeah.
Either you're enraged,
yes,
or you tried to learn something from
That's
it.
Right. That's right.
I was like, how do we do this?
That's right.
Figure this out.
That's right.
They know their tax codes, maybe, or getting around them.
Yes.
But yes, no, he's got no money.
Okay, so Sutherland Fitzgerald Kelly will only be getting money from Auntie Cheryl.
That's right.
From the working at the car wash.
Well, actually, nobody's getting it from the car wash. So Auntie Cheryl.
Auntie Cheryl will be putting in. Auntie Cheryl putting in for all the babies. Kyle, you get your baby money at 3 years old?
If so, it was $3 for the birthday.
Oh, okay. And then your baby flipped it. All your kids flipped it. And then they doubled it. All right, Vic, you get your baby money at 3 years old?
That was the moment I started the infamous piggy bank. No dollars, just coins.
Just coins.
But it's also, but we know what the piggy bank is, Courtney. Yeah. It's the money they use for gas money.
That's right. They take it what it is.
I put it back.
That's right. That's right. And then the baby shaking the pig, and the pig ain't got nothing in it. All right, Harry Sutherland, bring us home. You giving your baby money at 3 years old?
Just child support. Just
Lord, I knew it. We'll be right back with more show. We're ready on.
We're rewarding you for something you already do, listening to us. It's Radio Loyalty, and it's an easy way for you to get free stuff. All you do is sign up. Go ahead and click the banner now. You'll earn points as you listen. Points you can trade in for great products and services in the Radio Loyalty store. You can earn even more points when you share your favorite station with friends on Facebook and Twitter. Radio Loyalty. It's free to sign up, so click the banner to join now.
It's the weekly roundup. Here's what happened this week on Cheryl Underwood Radio.
And we're back with more Cheryl Underwood Radio.
Thank you, super producer. Hey, we breaking down why I believe that the president should be brought up on charges based on what I consider is decades of tax fraud, even though there's no statute of limitation. I think I kept saying statute of limitations on penalties for what they've done, Harry.
That's correct. And
based on that New York Times report.
That's right. In the state of New York, there's a criminal statute of limitations, but not
why
a
they
civil.
Can't bring them up on criminal trial. And why can't this, to me, why can't you impeach him based on this information and other things, and then bring him up on state charges where he cannot pardon himself?
You should do that, and that's a great way to do it. But also, the IRS actually should look into it too, even though they won't, because he's kind of like their boss. But he really committed some federal crimes as well. If this article is true.
But because you just now finding out about it, and that's why he didn't want to release his tax forms. Because then you would have figured out. Also, we hear that he's not worth billions of dollars. That he embellishes.
He lies. He lies.
He lies.
A lot.
No way.
No way he lies like that. You sure he's not lying?
You can learn a lot from Donald Trump, the way he creates his own reality. It's a positive and a negative, because those people laughed at him in the UN, and he was like, that didn't go the way I thought it would.
Right.
And then the next day he was like, it was a joke, and he always
they were laughing with me.
He creates his own narrative, right?
He does.
Absolutely.
Always.
Well, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna continue this discussion on tomorrow. Plus, Courtney Black back with the facts. We got to talk about the genius of Melania Trump.
Yes.
That she went to the one place Trump ain't gonna follow her to, the motherland, Africa.
That's right.
And how that's a genius. And then we got to get into the Kavanaugh, because I think the whole Kavanaugh situation is gonna help the Democrats take over the House and the Senate and win elections. It's blue and the black wave. Yeah. So we're gonna continue this discussion on tomorrow, because we got to go into our HBCU shout out coming up next on Cheryl Underwood Radio.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
They all cause they run parallel. So like literally when you walk to the end of my block, it was like regular houses, abandoned houses. Then I was like, this is in my neighborhood. Like, my neighborhood was nice though, but it was like, yes, this is for regular Negroes right here. Then when you get right here, I'm like, what is the 17 Fleet driveway right here? And I had to look. It's this little teeny bridge that's literally like this long. So I'm like, wait a minute, you can do 3 like crip walks over this bridge and then this. Yo, it's like, if you look to the right, Angelina and Brad have a house some home here. Then I walked down the street a little bit. I said, okay, white folks in the living room with no curtains, they real rich.
Yeah.
Because once you don't have no curtains, you don't care if niggas see what's right.
I mean, you really got money.
Yeah,
With a big window so you can see.
Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show. As you see, Miss Geneva.
Yes.
I've
been calling her Geneva.
Geneva.
I write it as Geneva on Facebook.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say nothing.
You weren't going to correct me.
They didn't. They didn't say anything.
Not on air. I wasn't gonna do that on air. That's not
Like,
right.
sir, that's not. That's not. her name.
I was gonna quiet.
But it's honest. I make that mistake every time I address her, so it's not purposely. It's just I'm a phonetic reader, so.
But it's African, so you know it's Geneva.
But I'm an African American.
And this is real.
That-
There we have it, folks.
So welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show, Miss Geneva, the diva extraordinaire. She got her fur on and everything. Her diamonds dripping right now.
I don't know about no diamonds.
Beautiful.
She left them in the car.
In the safe.
To say.
As they say.
But we've been talking with these two gentlemen here, and I'm really happy to have this group of artists that came through the show today, because they're showing what Baltimore really is now, and where we still have to grow and not so much fight, but in terms of where the artistry is. Say when you first wanted to start this podcast to right now, can you speak to just how much we've grown in terms of the art scene here? Whether it's gentrified or not, you can be honest.
I mean, I would definitely say the Freddie Gray happening has kind of brought a watershed moment to North Avenue, to all of the art communities around here now. Whether you think that's good or bad, whether the people who have been coming in with all of this money, whether or not you think it's good or bad, it's kind of up to you. But a lot of theater stuff has been happening, a lot of grants have been occurring as well. So I mean, in that vein.
So it's a theater, a liquor store, and a hair supply store in every corner of Baltimore now.
Yeah. I mean, we got some nice stuff. We got like the Motor House, the Wind Up Space, the Parkway Theater. You know, like that
theater came up in like 3 days. It was a chicken box spot first, and then it was like this brand spanking new theater. Do you like the way all of you are from Baltimore? Except for Geneva.
I grew up here, though.
Grew up here, but
so
the two of you are from here?
Born and raised. Absolutely.
So can you speak to that area being like destitute? I remember, I think it was like a dollar store on Maryland and North, and then that McDonald's has always been there, but then the rest of it was like abandoned, to now you see like...
Well, would you still want to continue, brother? Or
I will say this, and I don't know if it's necessarily a con or what, and it could be since I've been off of the scene, quote unquote, for a minute, but there aren't as many, I guess, open mic spots as it used to be, or as many performance spots. I remember almost every day of the week there was a different spot. Monday it was here, Tuesday it was here, Wednesday it was here, Thursday, Friday, etc. Then you had spots that would pop up once a month, you know, or twice a month. I don't see that community, that physical community as much. And again, it could be because I'm not on the scene as much anymore.
I mean, I think that was the one area of the city that, well, in terms of the art scene, that was like overwhelming. And I think what happened was egos got in the way, and I'm gonna go start my own, to the point where it was 3 and 4 spots to go to every night of the week, and just the competition, I think, outgrew itself, forced it to outgrow itself. And then all the other areas of the art started to grow in terms of film and music and theater and visual art, of course, and I think it just fizzled. So now the event aspect of open mic is being now competing with everything else that's going on. So you can't possibly keep an open mic open with 3 or 4 permanent, you know, guests every week. And I think that's when I started going, the numbers start to go down. It's a couple people that's still managing to keep it going. Shout out to, what's the one at UB Blake on Fridays?
Be Free Fridays.
Be Free Fridays. Poets for Dinner.
Yeah.
Like those two kind of have maintained where the other ones are growing. And I think Poets for Dinner be cheating because they feeding people. But I eat there the last Sunday of every month. But I think the competition start happening.
Well, I would say that a lot of black businesses closed down because of systemic racism. You got like Eaton's Lounge that was in that area, and that was they had things every day, but the open mic for that was Organic Soul Tuesdays. Matter of fact, that's where me and Jennifer and all of us kind of met. Yeah, that was kind of our meeting place, and it was wonderful. But they start having different dress codes, situations, and that whole neighborhood to have a black business and a black person own that building,
right?
And have black people just in that neighborhood on those days. They would put little small things, not Eaton's Lounge, but just the community.
But I think it was a two-part, because that's what's happening too. We think that a lot of the black businesses are going down, but they're just whitewashing themselves.
Absolutely.
And their branding, which was the detriment to some place like Eaton's Lounge, because then they felt as though they had to move to Atlanta to make it.
Right.
Versus, I know that club now is not making as much as the club that was here, but they needed that image, and a lot of our businesses are doing that, whitewashing their branding and the look of it, so they feel like they're more diverse because they see all of these non-black Baltimoreans sprouting up, and they want to fit into that economic pocket.
But Nate, one of the things I was going to say with a lot of
bring your mic a little bit closer.
When we first started out. A lot of people that own the businesses now are not the original owners when we came up on the scene. So I think one of the things that the ownerships believed that they were going to still manifest the art.
Jennifer Ghetto.
Y'all don't see I'm live. Wait till I find out what it was. But no, one of the things is that the dynamic changed when the ownership changed. A lot of people sold their businesses also based on the fact that they thought the person that they were selling their businesses to was going to continue the culture of the business.
Right.
When we have major corporations, the reality of it is that the culture of the business is what they sell, one of the things they sell into.
Right.
So they want to make sure, like, you know, if it's even like with food and restaurants or anything, they want you to keep the culture, the authenticity. So a lot of these people assume that when they sold their businesses, like I know specifically with Eaton's Lounge, Danny was the owner of that when it first opened, and you know Solomon was his brother, who owned five seasons. Initially, Danny started out running 5 seasons with Solomon. They branched off. So I think Danny moved back to Ethiopia, where he was from, and he sold it to another Ethiopian family. But they were more on the corporate, let's make money, you know. So the authenticity, when he came into the business, it was to offer a platform for artists to have the vision to be heard, and that was not happening when it came to
when they switched over.
And that's been, I think, part of the reason that we have decreased in artistic platforms is because that's what's happened with a lot of the businesses. And we have new businesses opening who are trying to cultivate, and it's not our own people that are trying to cultivate. Like, they're aesthetically changing Baltimore, but the culture is not changing. The artistry was always here.
Right.
We are one of the cities that's always had a concentrated amount of artistry, and like people can actually do what they say they can do. When you go to Atlanta and people say they're talented, they really are talented.
But they're working towards that talent.
Right. But the platforms are there. So many things. Atlanta is a hub. The biggest issue with Baltimore is that we have a lot of great talent that comes out of here, but then we don't have a lot of great support. And we don't have a lot of support in us repping our own brand. Philly, people respect Philly because they rep their own brand and they make people respect Philly.
And they don't have nearly as many outlets and resources as, say, a Baltimore
hub, but because it's so respected, and they are they focus on bringing that concentration back into their hub and making people familiar with their brand and respect their brand. With Baltimore, like, it was the time before I left here and just came back here, when I would do a show here, 300 people would come out, 200 people come out, 100 people come out. Even for the open mic, we got throughout the night.
It'd be packed.
It'd be packed throughout the night. It'd be a rotation of people. So the head count by the end of the night, it might not look like it might have been 150 people to come through on a Tuesday.
Right.
Now, I put up a post for something, it'll be 200 responses saying going, but people don't come out. They don't feel safe anymore. That's the first thing. Nobody feels safe anymore. Every place we go to, it's always something happening. And it's crazy because the concentrated amount of crime that happens in this city compared to what really happens when we go out, it's like they focus on a lot of the bad things that happen on the news, but I done lived a whole lot of places, and they all do the same crazy stuff. New Orleans is no different.
Right.
Charlotte was no different. They just might have a little bit more. It might be concentrated to a certain area.
Right.
But it was no different. And when I watch the news, a lot of stuff just don't make the news.
So can you introduce yourself to our audience?
Oh yeah, that would be nice. Hi.
I didn't ask, so you know, jumped in.
Now, I'm Jenna Basuma, aka J Hooks, aka J Suma, local neo soul house soul art. I don't like to classify myself. I don't make any of that. I make feel good music. So
okay.
That's what I've been doing for years. I know these brothers from the art scene that we have here, from poetry, from open mics, from just everything musically inclined in our city. We've always had that foundation. We've always had our family-oriented structure amongst ourselves.
Absolutely.
But we've had to branch out into other things because the support is not here. The platforms don't continue. The let me see, like we just don't have the same. We have the resource to make it happen, but we just don't have the same response.
Can you, so for me, I missed out on those days that you referred to because I was a student and we kind of were like forced to be inside.
You went to Coppin, right?
I went to Coppin.
Around what time? Like around what years did you go to Coppin?
I was there 2004. I was one of those non-traditional students.
It's okay.
But I spent an extended amount of time there. So like 2004, maybe 2009, 2010.
So you were there for Eagles Nest, right? Mm-hmm. So you were there when like MC Water.
Right, when he was hosting it.
And
the Twins and.
Yeah, yeah. So I remember Eagles Nest being in the student center and all
Fireside
that.
Lounge.
Yeah, that was, and it still looks the same.
Yeah,
still they didn't change the thing.
Yeah,
they didn't change anything.
Yeah, but that was our outlet. So when they would bring stuff on campus, or when I got to see stuff when I was at Arena Players, or I was in a group called Kaumba. So I spent my 20s working, like in it. So I didn't really get to go out as much but I heard about a lot of the scenes. We had one of my fellow students, Mama Jackie. She would try to get me to come out to many of the open mics. Yeah, Jackie Tari, come out to many of the open mics, and I got a taste of it down at the 5 Seasons, and I don't see the support because I think everybody said, well, you know what, I'm gonna do my own thing. So we have too many nonprofits and too many facilities that kind of house arts, in my opinion, because then it watered down the audience and it forced people to have to choose. And now people are now forced to do Facebook Lives at their event because people don't want to come out. They would rather sit at home and watch it on
And now
Facebook
you really
Live.
watch the whole thing.
Right.
And then we don't even have a lot of things anymore now because that's happened so much that it's decreased the amount of open mic platforms we have. Like we went from 100 to none. So like, and that's changed the whole dynamic of people. And what's happening is, as new artists are coming out, they're feeling non-supported. Whereas we already kind of made our dent in the scene.
Yeah. And the venues that are out there, the artists don't feel comfortable. Like they don't feel welcome at some of those events.
And they're not making it. They're not. You know, the one thing about art is the energy has to be there.
Yeah.
The environment has to have a certain energy. Like every time we moved Organic Soul, the energy changed.
Yeah.
You know, when they closed Eagles Lounge, like that was our next comfortable space, which kind of graduated us there because we needed more space.
Yeah.
And then when it finally became a comfortable place, then it became new ownership, and then it was uncomfortable again.
Yeah.
And so that changed the dynamic of people coming out to support the event when it used to be standing room only. So then they made it a quarterly event at the Cultural Arts Place, and then we had another uncomfortable dynamic there, and then which made people like the venue. And another thing is, like, when you deal with poets, when you deal with open mic, when you deal with live singers, your audience has to be up close and personal. All that you in the nosebleed seats,
far away.
like I just did Select Lounge like a couple weeks ago, and they have a stage. They have a Friday.
Is that the one in East Baltimore?
Friday after 5. It's right here up the street on Packer Street.
Okay. Okay.
So, you know, they put all these mics up, and I don't require all the bells and whistles. You just give me 3 people in the piccolo. And I'm giving, like, hey, little Jimmy. So, you know, so like, I don't require all that bells and whistles. You know, my ex-husband like, yeah, we need backing tracks. I'm like, look, Janet Jackson, I don't need all that. I just need 3 people.
Because they saw that. They saw that on TV somewhere.
Right.
And they
and
feel
so
like...
the biggest thing was I would bring the mic down and stand where the audience was, where the couches was. People want to feel connected to you. When you go and do these massive spaces and it's 796 in a partridge in a pear tree and they this far away and you can't touch. You know, people want to see your eyes. They want to talk to you. You know, they want to be connected to
That's
you.
why the younger artists don't know how to perform because they're being introduced to in those types of spaces and they feel like they gotta be distant. So now they're making their whole career about being
We'll pack up 500 people in a 225 people's capacity facility. Stand up, let all the sisters sit down, stand on the stage, behind the stage, on the side of the stage, sit on the stage. All 596 of us and Moses and be fine. They want to give you a facility with seats 2,000 and in the fields everybody sits apart. It's distant. It's not the same connection. So we have a bunch of places here, but we don't have a place that has the energy that feels that has the warmth that we need in order to consent. And that's the biggest thing. Every place that we've had like that was closed. Everything that they've opened, great facilities. Not a great platform for what we do.
Right.
And nobody says it out loud.
And I mean,
go ahead.
I think that a lot of the newer artists. I don't want to speak for all of the new artists. I don't know all the new artists, but I know some new artists. They need so much. They need the top-notch speakers and the top-notch microphone and the screens in the back. Like they need the set to perform for them. Because
they looking at Beyonce. Like that's not your reality.
All that extra stuff. You like
I remember performing at places where the mics didn't work or the monitors that you supposed to be listening to yourself didn't work.
Or not at all.
Yeah, or not at all. You had to put that mic to the side and go into the audience and sing to the audience. And that's what, just piggybacking off of what Jennifer was talking about, that it forced you to connect with your audience. Like it was just you. You had to be the entertainment for your audience. And now it's like, you'll see people have more shows now than having to sign an open mic. Like there's not this, that process isn't there anymore. That process, but like now you have the material and the connections as far as like just your all the information that's in your cell phone. You have all of that just to have the brand new artist show. Like I remember we had to sign a list. We had to pay to go into this place just to perform, and then you may not
that you got a spot.
Hope that you got on that list, and then
support the craft. That made you support the craft,
and it made you support it. It made you appreciate it. And in the beginning, it made you a stronger artist. It made you hate it at one time, and it weeded out the people who were serious about it, and it weeded out the people who were like, you know, it's either you hate it but you still stick around to learn to love it, or you go get a job. You know what I mean? Go get a job, and this may not be for you.
Maybe a regular Negro.
How do you think we can get to a place where we can have a better thing? So we have a lot of facilities now and a lot of art institutions now, but how can we keep this city from becoming, say, like DC or other cities that are ahead of us in their gentrification, so our art scene doesn't like totally disappear and be whitewashed or watered down?
But look, that might be happening, but they are still maintaining those hubs and holding on to that structure. That's the difference. Like DC, they might have all these different whitewash things, but you can always go to a Bohemian Cavern and still get that feeling. You know what I'm saying? You can always go to the Martini Room and get that feeling. They hold it. You can go to the Lincoln Theater, as big as it is, and get that feeling. And that's the difference. We're not holding on to the culture. We're not holding on to maintaining the structure that makes it grassroots, authentic. We don't have that.
I will say one of the biggest, I guess, the pressure points that was hit was when Walt and Rebecca stopped doing Warm Wednesdays. Warm Wednesdays was kind of like the most, if I'm not mistaken, has been the most consistent open mic in the country, period. Long standing, and whatever spots would pop up and leave, you always could count on Warm Wednesdays every Wednesday. Whether Walt was sick and Rebecca, you know, had to be the only host, vice versa, or even sometimes neither one of them would be there, and they would get somebody else to host.
Like another poet.
You know what I mean? And you could always count on that, and that kind of always served as a main heart and pressure point of the scene. And so when when Walt decided to do different things, or Rebecca decided to do different things, I think I don't know. I think that was a big loss.
So we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BigExposedRadio.com. Don't go anywhere. Lesson, don't forget your contacts or your glasses. See you much more.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Monty from Talk Lately. I want y'all to sit back and listen to this flashback. We be tripping.
I mean, really, but I mean, he might have. I got him maybe.
You use Tearless baby shampoo because it's gentle on your baby's eyes. You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You always test the bathwater to make sure it's not too hot. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You make sure she wears a helmet when she rides her bicycle. You put on his sunscreen, even when he's embarrassed his friends will see. You do so much to keep your child safe. But are you using the right car seat for your child? Is your child facing the right way in the car seat? Is the seat too big or too small? How do you know when it's time to move your child into the next type of seat? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. That's safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions?
No, why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework.
Home, walk, restaurant. Need a review?
No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind wanders. He's disorganized.
I think I understand.
Oh, good.
Finding best potatoes for French fries.
No!
Russet, fingerling, Yukon Gold.
Why don't you understand me?
Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Brought to you by understood.org and the Ad Council.
It's the weekly roundup. Here's what happened this week on Cheryl Underwood Radio.
And we're back with more Cheryl Underwood Radio.
Thank you, super producer Courtney Black. You asked a question. We're in entertainment, but we're still talking a little politics.
Right.
You asked a question. Why was it red meat?
Yeah, what is red meat?
And Jim?
For Trump's base, it's they see a disconnect between Hollywood and the regular people that they think they are. They see a massive gap in between, like they're out of touch with stuff.
Gotcha. But what you don't see is more of us who are conservative speaking up. Now, before you call here 1-855-SHERYL1 and be like, Cheryl, you this, you that, you that, you know, it's I'm a conservative Republican from old school.
Come on.
I'm not this new thing that's all about winning. I'd like to see us working across the aisle.
That's what you're about too. You're about working together and stuff, not extremism that keep apart and separate.
That's right. But I am pro-military. I'm pro-law enforcement when they right, when they're protecting and serving, and not overstepping the authority of the bad. I do want certain safe.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show, here live only on BeExposedRadio.com. We're here live with the awesomeness of, before we go any further, I want you to tell us about the podcast.
Okay.
What we're going to expect down, because you are shooting them and just releasing them. Is there a specific time that you release them? Or?
So as of right now, we talked about shooting it. We talked about releasing it Wednesday.
Okay.
So every Wednesday, video and audio on the iTunes app, Google Play, of course, like SoundCloud, stuff like that. And then for the visuals, just YouTube, Well, just YouTube for right now. I can't think of any other place to release it.
Right.
But
Periscope is kind of.
We may do a couple of live shows like somewhere down the line. But the podcast. So it's the On Topic Off Topic podcast. Jennifer, I don't know if you remember that song that we used to perform all the time. On Topic Off Topic. I know that you. I mean, it was. Years ago.
Like everything y'all did.
Can we get a taste of it right now?
Oh my God, no.
So you gotta be ready. You a theater person. You gotta be on this.
That's true. But what I can give you a taste of is this podcast that we talk about.
He's learning.
Little magic.
The podcast is pretty much about anything that we want to talk about. So it started off just because we would be on the phone and we would have conversations for hours about everything, whether just anything. Because I've known this guy for too long. Like I've known him for
too goddamn long.
Right, for like 15 years maybe.
Like you owe him something at this point.
And I don't owe him anything, but I've known him for a very long. He's like my brother.
Right.
So the podcast we have talked about. Well, at least the 2 episodes. The first episode, I thought rightfully would be to talk about us and how we got to know each other and just our journey. And then the second episode was, in the beginning of the episode, we talked about the Bill Cosby situation. And then at the end of that episode, we talked about art and depression and how it kind of coincides with each other. So 2 totally different topics, but it still worked within the podcast, and that's kind of how every episode is. I know that the next episode would be about sexual consent. You know what I mean? And
y'all doing heavy.
We talk about kind of the broad current situation of sexual consent, and then we also kind of incorporate some of our own personal stories of running into that situation.
Do you feel safe, not to sidetrack it, but do you feel safe now in this climate? And now that we have a woman in the room, I think that will be a better balance. But do you feel safe?
I need y'all consent first. No problem.
Mama say, do you feel safe, like hugging Jennifer the same way you used to hug her, or just this communication touch? Not even like Jennifer looking kind of fine over there with that fur on, like
that's fur.
So that's the thing with and it's so funny that you say that because me and him was just talking about this yesterday.
Literally yesterday.
Trav and I were always different in the sense that we always presented ourselves with respect to women from the very beginning. So as far as the consent thing, we have already kind of been in that condition before the consent topic has been so big. So we're cool. Right. I'm fine with it.
But not even to the point where it's somebody that you are attracted to. But I'm talking about now just being in a space with another. And I'm not on the side like me too, it's too much. But it just seems like no matter what you, if I say, hey, that looks nice, that sure look nice on you. Why? Like you already is a confrontation there.
So your thing is like, do they feel different and feel the need to change their approach of how they are personal?
Right, even more so than you already were naturally.
With them, I could probably say no, because like he said, they've always been the same. It's always been that same respectful dynamic. This has been their natures from the beginning. If you're and see, we come from a village, so it's different for us. So a lot of stuff that's going on, we don't relate to because our village, we family from the door. We gonna hug, kiss, love each other when we see each other, regardless, because that's who we are. You know, I'm always I'll sit here with my arm around him and be like, I don't care if your girlfriend looking because you my cousin. But that's our family dynamic. Right. You know, when you get out here in this world, and I guess that's why we have the connection that we have as artists. All of us, like, look, I met him online first, but when I saw him, it was like Nate.
Right.
But even so, I introduced myself to you online because I've always seen you, but you know, in those environments, you can't be like, hey, I think you're awesome because y'all be in your own world when y'all
see, it's different with us. You can do that with us.
But the world that I'm coming from, that's
But
not what you naturally do.
Go ahead, go.
I'll say this kind of going back to performing. Just know your audience and know your room. And read a person's mannerisms, read their body language. 80% of communication is body language. So if a person is looking uncomfortable, if they're looking uptight, you may not want to come off a certain way, or you may want to withhold some things. You may want to present a certain element. And again, like for me, I value personal space. So this the Me Too thing about people being violated and being attacked, it was never really a thing for me, because a lot of the times, unless I know you or unless I love you, I don't want to be touched no fucking way. I don't want to touch you in that way either. I don't want to attack you or violate your personal space. In fact, I value your personal space more than my own. You know what I mean? So it's never, this whole climate thing has changed. Now I do believe some things may be a tad bit extreme, but I get to fortunately and unfortunately, sometimes in history we have to hit the extreme to come back to the middle. And right now I think everything is working back to the middle, and we're getting to a place where everybody can be respected and heard, and I think that's the most important.
And it's not that Baltimore, because we're in Baltimore, that's why I said it that way, we haven't known people to go too far or do inappropriate things, but our art community here has been beginning to be hit.
I was like, ooh.
Well, we knew it, but it's starting to hit us the same way because the movement is here. It's now starting to become headline news. So we've had a couple theater companies that's had to have people step down and move to the side, whereas though before it was this, you may not have seen them for a couple weeks and then things went back to normal.
I think people are now starting to say stuff out loud. Because it's more where we're getting to a point where it's okay for it to be socially unacceptable, to be uncomfortable. I think another thing is we choose environments as artists that we really don't have to worry about that too much. Like I don't perform in certain stuff. When I go, like when people ask me to be on these bills and they all trapping and dying and it's 900 rappers and no, I'm not about to be hitting in the hole with you. That's not my ministry. Like, so I don't even put myself in situations where I feel like it's going to be an uncomfortable vibe. Like, even though I'm an artist, and yes, I do what I love, and we want to do what we love in exchange for currency, of course, but some stuff, the risk isn't worth the reward for me. You know, I'm just not doing certain types of events. I had an event recently where an artist was mad at me because in the last minute we pulled out, because like when I saw initially when she asked me to be on the bill, I didn't know it was going to be all those other people, first of all. And I don't do like things that are more like that talent show type of. If it's open mic, that's a different dynamic, because that's us all sharing our gifts. But the biggest thing was the environment of where it was being held, and then the lineup of, and I was the only singer. But it was just like, yo, they gonna be busting each other in the head at the end of this. Right. You know, and if they not, it's gonna be so-and-so don't like, so like, none of that is what I do. That's not the environment that, I don't even have to, when we are performing at events, it's never been a time that I have to worry about my safety, the interaction between myself and other artists. Even if they have a disposition, it's never gonna involve, like, result to anything inappropriate for the women. If anything, these are the men that's going to walk you to your car, make sure you're safe. Like it's just a different dynamic in the environment that we perform in compared to what the general population is. And so that creates a different situation for us, where it's allows the Me Too's and all those things are not things that we have to worry about as much. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm just saying it doesn't happen in our environment as much, you know?
Now, we talk about that episode, that third episode, we dive pretty deep in the sexual consent thing. But after, I mean, because that episode, of course, is already recorded. But like the thing that I find ridiculous right now, and I don't know if you've seen it pop up online. Like I've just seen it pop up recently this week. Is the him too #HimToo, which is kind of the now, because of the Me Too movement, men feel uncomfortable in an environment. Pretty much, you know, the question that you asked. I think that existing is ridiculous. I think it's. I'm
gonna tell you. I would not use that hashtag, but I'm gonna tell you why it's not ridiculous. I have 7 uncles, and out of those 7 uncles, my mom and grandmother has gone to schools and gone to court, and I've been there each time where they were falsely accused of rape.
Understood.
That's why that, to me, it seems important to acknowledge, not so much to discredit the person who was assaulted or allegedly assaulted, but to also keep it balanced. I don't want to be going to court on somebody's Facebook Live versus in a court of justice.
Right.
And that's the issue that I have with it. Public opinion, you're already guilty, tried, and convicted just off a post.
Just off a post,
We just had an incident with Leaders of a Beautiful Struggle. Now, I don't know whether this gentleman is guilty or innocent. I didn't get the information, but the way the young lady who was defending the alleged victim went about doing it was inaccurate. She sent out Facebook messages to people. Basically, question is, and depending on how you answered that questionnaire, she blasted you on her page. And for me, I was about to send back my response before I saw the message that she sent on Erica. Like I just didn't see it, and by the time I was about to look at it, I saw and I don't mean to pull out people's names, but that's just the reality of where we are. That's why it feels uncomfortable. I'm already not a hugger. It's just we ain't do that in my family. That's right. Stuff, bro. But it's just
I'm a hugger. I'm a hugger your whole family.
But it for me it does get uncomfortable because I don't know who's planted in that sea of victims.
Right.
I don't know who's planted there to just make a statement. And you might come across the wrong person and say the wrong thing or go for a hug and they feel uncomfortable. And I don't discredit Me Too, but I don't support him too either. Unless he's been touched or
right.
It's a catch-22.
Yeah,
we live in such a trying time like that. It's so hard to say what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. I mean, of course, the obvious of inappropriate things is very obvious. But it's like, damn, when we get a break, like you can't even be a nice person to somebody without it being looked upon as you being inappropriate, sexually
creepy.
assaulting.
Like I've been seeing creepy come up a lot, and it's just
and I'm offended by stuff like that because I be loving on my people. Like you know, even like to the point where like Bates have been like, y'all real friendly. Y'all was like, that's what we do. Have a hug too. Like you know, like that's just how we are. So like coming into a situation where it's looked upon as inappropriate is to me that's creepy. Like to me, that's weird for you to know somebody for years and not treat them like family. Like though, like I haven't seen them in years. They that type of our report is like I'd be like, yo, what y'all doing after this? Come to the house. I'm about to cook something. We about to make pop some bottles. What's up? You know what I'm saying? And they ain't never been to my house before, but they my family. So like I don't even think in the aspect, and it could be just the 3 of us, and I wouldn't feel uncomfortable because I know their character as human beings, and that's the type of people I surround myself with. So it's like if you meet a person and they genuinely like that, and they like that towards a stranger, then the person think you being flirtatious or inappropriate, and it said you gotta tweak yourself. I'm in that situation like because I'm naturally a friendly person, and men be like they'll be flirting with me like, hey, she want me. No, not really, sir.
But I see you saying that. A lot of women won't say that and will just keep that emotion of being uncomfortable going. And then it grows into really being uncomfortable.
And then it's the power of discernment too as well. Like you can't put everybody in the same box because you've been a rape victim. I'm not saying it doesn't do something to you. I can identify with that. I've been down that road. I've been a rape victim. I don't talk about it. I don't put every man in that situation. It makes me cognizant to certain situations, and it was by a family member. Not a family member, but a close friend to the family. You know, one of my friends' family members. So it was somebody that I never thought would do something like that. And I never really speak about it, but in this day and age, I do speak about it because.
Have you dealt with it outside of not speaking about it though?
Like meaning what?
Like maybe therapy or priest or pastor.
When it happened, yes, it happened.
Maybe they the wrong examples, but
this was over 20 years ago. But the thing about it is, it's effective to you. It's effective to how you maneuver in relationships. But I don't place that. Not everybody is different. But you can't. I think that people choose to place certain things on every situation. Now, if you have a traumatic, life-altering situation, like we seeing stuff like people being kidnapped and they've been held hostage for 25 years and they done grew up and had babies by the kidnapper and they have a syndrome, that will make anybody paranoid for the rest of their life. Let's just keep it 100. But when we're talking about, and it's no better or wronger or righter way to rape or
it depends on the person.
Yeah, and it depends on the dynamic of the circumstance. If you are kidnapped, molested, raped, tortured, you are going to be probably paranoid for the rest of your life. If it happens to you as a child growing up, it may have some sexual effects on you. And you may have some paranoia, or it may affect you as a woman or how you maneuver in relationships. But what I'm saying is, if that is the case, you choose to hold on to that because you choose to either deal with it or not deal with it. You choose to say that I have the power not to deal with it, and so these are the effects. So then when you see those effects, you choose to maneuver yourself a certain way. But all that shit is a choice, man. And the problem is that people don't want to make choices to own their truth and relate to their issues and deal with them face forward. However you got to deal with them. If you stay depressed from a situation that happened, it's because you're choosing to stay in that place.
Right.
And I know it's easier said than done. I'm saying this, I'm speaking to myself when I say this. This is why we write the things we write, why we say the stuff we say. That's why we speak out loud or speak our voice. But it's like, at the end of the day, like with all, it's like everybody's playing victim now for things that, like, how long ago did this happen? I'm not riding on the Bill Cosby train, but in the same token, I ain't chastising him to the end of the earth neither. Because it's like, if you feel that terrible about what he did, you feel that terrible, give him back all his money.
That was one of the points that I brought up. The second podcast that you did, I appreciate the honesty that I'm not gonna say just honesty, but I'm appreciative of how you addressed it. You were unapologetic, both of you, and it seemed like you were both coming from the same perspective in terms of what you felt about it. But it's refreshing to hear people talk about these issues like Kanye, like Cosby, and not shy away from it, but not doing the sensational bait click podcast that I've been seeing out there, where it's you're touching on the surface of it, and you're just attacking these individuals at face value for the social media likes and giggles. And you really, like, I appreciate you going a little bit deeper into the topic versus just the headlines.
I mean, I will say this on the up and up. If we really are trying to fight for a better day, and we're not trying to become the monsters that we're running away from, let's just actually look at things with nuance. Like, everything isn't white or black, off or on, hot or cold. There's gray area. Like, that's the reason why I love the show Game of Thrones so much, because nobody is necessarily totally evil or totally good. There are good and evil people in that universe. But a lot of the people excel. You see what I'm saying? A lot of people excel towards the middle. And that's what human beings are. I mean, like, to some extent, we're all hypocrites. That's all I'm trying to say. We're all hypocrites. You may be boycotting this thing, but you do this other thing. You know what I'm saying? Or you may not be watching this, but you listen to this. That's all I'm saying. Like, I don't get with the super duper judgment. I don't get with people are guilty in the court of public opinion before we look at the facts. I don't get with that. I don't agree with it at all.
You gotta be honest with yourself about.
I don't agree with it.
Yeah, like, you know, not to keep touching on that, but we've had a lot of cases of women being violated, but men get violated too, and we don't talk about it.
But that's a whole nother issue, because you're looked at a certain type of way if you are a man and you've been touched. I can't remember the father from Everybody Hates Chris, but when he came out, there were plenty of, like, media that was it was funny to them.
The bald-headed guy.
Terry Crews.
Terry Crews. It was funny to them, or he's been suspect since the beginning anyway. So
and people don't want to admit that sometimes when men have a natural femininity and they're not gay men, sometimes it's from their learned behavior and experiences, and that can happen to them and them not be a gay man. Like, sexuality can also be a learned behavior, especially based on your childhood situations that people don't want to talk about out loud. And when a man does it, and when they say the fact that I've crossed paths with so many men that are my friends, and we have conversations. I have open dialogue with men because I'm the only girl in my family. When it comes to all the cousins, I'm my mother's only child. So, like, in my work situation, I was the only female for like 20-something years that traveled with a whole group of guys, and they always been protective of me like brothers. But I talk to them, and one of the things that we would talk about, like, a lot of men lost their virginity to older women, and it was not consensual. That's rape.
Yeah.
If a man,
but that's a rite of passage for some hood mentalities.
It's only a rite of passage because we've been socially taught that it's like you said,
it's acceptable.
That it's acceptable, but it's still wrong, and it creates a sexual issue with those men. Those are the same men that are addicted to sex. Those are the same men that deal with all types of human sexuality demons, whether they gay, straight, bi, whatever. They're the same men that may have all types of sexual issues, and they don't want to. We don't want to touch on the root. That's where it came from.
And not to dispute me too, that's my point of view, because I have uncles who were falsely accused. I've seen, I said the first time after, I think I was like 33 on the show, when I said I had been molested. So it was a lot of things that I saw outside of women just being violated. And I'm not trying to overshadow them, but I think you have to talk about everything, because if you want to stop predators, you have to stop allowing these 21-year-old women to stop having sex with these 16-year-olds.
And the biggest thing, not to cut you off, that I see young women with parents who are okay with their young daughters messing with a grown-ass man, and as long as he's taking care of the family, as long as it's beneficial, and the minute he stopped, now he a rapist. I've seen it numerous times. So for most people, they a lot of times me and my girlfriend say, oh, when I met this guy and I Googled and I looked him up, and they say, well, he got statutory rape, or he got something like that on his background. And I'm not making excuses, Papa. I said, did you ask him what happened? Ask him what happened. Because I find that when you talk to people, when they tell you what really happened, and then they can show you what happened with like files of it, and you like, yo, this girl mother knew that this man was grown, and she was 16 or 15, and let her daughter mess with this grown man. Oh, but when he stopped trapping, and he wasn't taking care of the family, then he became a rape victim, and it became an issue. Or when they found out, once she got pregnant, oh my God, no, that's not. And then you change the whole dynamics of somebody's life. I've seen it happen to people that I know personally, that I know would never rape a woman, or women that their mothers will go along with them lying about their age to get what they need.
So we've come to an awful point, the end of the show. This is addictive, I'm telling you. It's addictive because you don't want to stop. And it gets good right at the end.
We done got off the music. Right. We ain't talking about nobody's music. Well, we all got music.
So the Artist Exchange is built the Artist Exchange is built for engagement. I focus on engagement here, because when I spend my money, I want to know who I'm giving my money to. I want to give my money to somebody who voted for 45. I don't want to. I'm sorry, I don't want to do that. But I focus on just telling people who you are, showing people who you are, because I feel that people are more open to supporting and investing in individuals if they know who you are versus what your 15-second elevator pitch is. And I think where I spend my money is I really research the people who I bring on the show and who I give my money to and my support and time to. So my last question to everybody is, what advice would you give to your 17-year-old self? Not to change anything, but to kind of almost soften that blow a little bit. Or
I'm
give
17
them a little...
now, so I have no idea what you're saying over there, brother. But,
well, hypothetically, sir.
Ladies first.
My 17-year-old self.
It was a couple days ago, so I know.
Y'all sonny, I just turned 18.
Okay.
Don't y'all be, y'all 18-year-old boys, don't be in my inbox. I'm not going to jail for y'all, son. But no, I think I was wise actually at 17, because I always surrounded myself with people that were older than me. And the one thing that I learned was to watch, pay attention, and to take from the experiences of the people around you that are older than you. Like some stuff I didn't have to go through. Like I didn't have to have a baby at a young age. Not saying that I'm not knocking it for anybody else, but for me, I knew that wasn't the route I wanted to go, because I saw people do it and I saw the hardships that they had. Even at 24, 25, when I had my son, I still thought I was too young. You know, so I didn't have to have certain life experiences to know not to do them. Because the people around me, when I was graduating from high school, they were graduating from college. So I was like looking at our life experiences. And like we surrounded ourselves with older people, because we were still in the music game. And so in the music game, guys were adults. And they didn't care that we were kids. So I surrounded myself with brothers that would protect me, but they weren't that much older than me. So I took those things. So my 17-year-old self is like, take your wisdom in. Be smart enough to don't have certain life experiences because you see it going with somebody else. You don't have to do it. It's right there in front of you.
I'll add live to that because people do those things and forget to live, so they play it safe for the rest of their life.
Still live, yeah, because we had a good time.
I mean, first thing I was telling myself, pick up a camera, nigga. But no.
But that's a problem amongst us when it comes for grants. We don't document anything that we do.
Life, period. Who taught me that? Who had a picture with everybody in America? I ain't never met nobody. If y'all don't know who from Brownfish is, rest in peace. This brother, when we had ceremony, y'all notice he had a picture with everybody in Baltimore. And I don't care what they did. I don't care if they was a street sweeper. If they was the hottest street sweeper that everybody know, he had a picture with
him. He had a picture with him, absolutely.
And I said, I need you to document my life more.
But I'm saying that's why a lot of us not getting the grants that are now resources out there, and that's the one part of the thing that determines whether you get it or not. We're not, as black artists, documenting our work enough.
But I mean, I will say this is to my 17-year-old self and my 29 going on 30-year-old self. Stop caring about what people think. Stop caring about what people think. Period.
Was that a hesitation for you or a major roadblock?
Well, I mean, I think it's like a balance between, like, you know, as an artist, you want to a certain extent, you want to be liked. You know what I'm saying? As an artist, you want your product to be liked, you want your content to be enjoyed, you want people to enjoy your content as much as you enjoy creating it. But but as it comes to a certain point where really having a strong opinion, having a opinion that's worthy of listening to, content that's worthy of listening to, you're gonna have to stand on something. And so whether people disagree with you or whatever, if people who really bang with you, they're gonna find a way to bang with you. If they don't, they're gonna find an excuse to not to.
Right.
So my whole premise, my whole pledge of allegiance to myself and to everybody who I love.
Not your pledge of allegiance.
You about to be president, sir.
My pledge of allegiance to myself.
We need a new mayor.
To stop caring about what people think.
It can be a down the hill effect because you start doing that and that your whole career becomes about, I wonder what they gonna think about this.
Being
every
politically
decision.
correct, socially acceptable, and that's BS.
What I would tell my 17-year-old self, learn about owning property. Because property ownership and land ownership is everything. It is really one way to make sure that your business isn't just a business for you, but it turns into a legacy. So like, I know I was just talking to him outside and I asked him, like, has he ever seen a McDonald's close before? And never seen it
outside of health reasons.
Right. So like the McDonald's on Broadway is still there. Broadway has changed everything. That McDonald's is still
the one
there.
on North Avenue.
Northwood Plaza, all of those shops are closed. McDonald's is still there. That Heckinger's that used to be there is gone.